Hello, dear students. Today we have to discuss companies. During our lesson, we will look at different forms of business organization. We will do activities and I will give you home assignment. Different forms of business organization. What they include? This is single or sole proprietorship. A form of business which is owned by one person. This is the simplest and the most common form of business organization. In a sole proprietorship, the owner must decide how much liability protection he or she needs. And what is liability protection? This is insurance against the debts and actions of business. What are advantages of sole proprietorship? Sole proprietorship is easy and inexpensive to create. The owner has complete authority over all business activities. This is the least regulated form of business ownership. The business pays no taxes. Income is taxed at the personal rate of the owner. What are disadvantages of sole proprietorship? The owner has unlimited liability. Raising capital is more difficult. The business is totally reliant on the skills and abilities of the owner. The death of owner dissolves the business unless there is a will to the contrary. The second form of business organization is partnership. This is a form of business owned by two or more persons. The details of the arrangement between the partners are outlined in a written document called Articles of Partnership. Profits are divided among partners based on their agreed sharing. The owner is called a partner. What are advantages of partnership? Partnerships are inexpensive to create. General partners have complete control. Partners can share ideas. And disadvantages of partnership? It is difficult to dissolve one partner's interest without dissolving the partnership. There may be personality conflicts. Partners can be held liable for each other's actions. The third form of business organizations is corporation. In a corporation, the owners of the business are protected from liability for the actions of the company. There are three types of corporations: C corporation, subchapter S corporation, and non-profit corporation. Corporation. This is a business that is registered by a state and operates apart from its owners. It issues shares of stock and lives on after the owners have sold their interest or passed away. A C corporation is the most common corporate form. This is an entity that pays taxes on earnings. Its shareholders pay taxes as well. C corporations. In small corporations, the founders generally are the major shareholders, and shareholders are the owners of a corporation. What are advantages of C corporations? This is status, limited liability, ability to raise investment money, perpetual existence, employee benefits, and tax advantages. Advantages of C corporations. Corporate shareholders have limited liability, but some banks require officers to personally guarantee the debts of the company. Limited liability. This is partial responsibility of a corporate shareholder. He or she is responsible only up to the amount of his or her individual investment. Disadvantages: expensive to set up, income more heavily taxed, subject to double taxation of income, pays taxes on profits, stockholders taxed on dividends. S corporations. S corporation is a corporation that is not required to pay federal income tax, unlike a C corporation, and instead passes on its tax liability for its profits onto its shareholders. C corporation. In other words, we can say a corporation taxed like a partnership. What are advantages of S corporations? Profits are only taxed once at the shareholder's personal tax rate. The S corporation is not a tax-paying entity. Disadvantages: they can have only one class of stock. Often restaurants are C/S corporations. If the business produces enough cash, this form works. Really, If the business shows a large taxable profit but has not generated enough cash to cover the taxes, the owners must pay the taxes out of their personal earnings. A non-profit corporation. This is one form of business organization which must fall within one of four categories: with religion, charity, public benefit, mutual benefit. In other words, we can say that non-profit corporation is a legal entity that makes money for reasons other than the owner's profit. It can make a profit, but the profit must remain within the company. And there are many benefits of forming a limited liability company, LLC. LLC is a company whose owners and managers have limited liability and some tax benefits, but which avoid some restrictions associated with subchapters as corporations. And in conclusion, we can say that LLC is simpler to set up than a corporation. LLC allows for the flexibility of a partnership structure. LLC protects its owners with the limited liability of a corporation. Its members are not liable for the company's debts. LLC is not subject to double taxation. LLC provides the pass-through tax advantages of partnership. Profits are taxed personally, and shareholders are taxed only once. And at the end of the lesson, I'm going to give you reading activity. You are given two different types of text. The first one is India, Tata search for a new CEO. And the second text is John Lewis is the best company in Britain to work for. You have to read the texts and then compare and contrast the two companies. For example, Tata is an Indian company, but John Lewis is a British company. Write down as many sentences as you can. As a second activity, you have to discuss these questions. What are the good and bad points of bringing in someone from outside to run a family-owned business? Do you know of any company like John Lewis in your country? If so, how successful is it? And as a home assignment, I'm going to give you the next task. List down at least 3 businesses in the country according to the form of businesses you pick. For every business, identify the business activities, products, or services offered. If possible, identify the owners of every business listed. Write a report on your output. Thank you very much for your attention. Goodbye.